Hey there, it's 4:30 and it is June 8th. It's Saturday afternoon and I have been thinking up a storm all day long. So I posted a video earlier this morning, and so now I've just been like, between that time and now I've just been like thinking and thinking and thinking, you know. And I mean, what else is there for me to do? I have been thinking, of course, about restructuring my whole fucking thing that I had to work all very hard on the last 7 months, only to have my shit sabotaged. But anyway, I also thought about, the deeper meaning behind all of these things, and the sabotage and the rumors and the campaign smears and the bullying, and I was thinking about how there were people that I knew in my past who in conversation, I could kind of see that they had a hard time understanding the difference between something that they strongly believe in and something that is actually against the law. Okay. And there are certain things like, we feel very passionate about. Like when I was little, because I honestly believe like the family structure was supposed to be something sacred. Now, nobody ever told me that, okay? But what was flashed in my face with things like, TV shows showing this great family bond, okay? Commercials showed the great family bond, cartoons showed the great family bond, so on and so forth. Okay, and then also, we had things, subtle things, even though I was not raised in religion, I do know that, things like adultery and stuff like that was considered to be, a sin, okay? And like I said, the example of people that you kind of have some sort of, affection for. As silly as it is, like I mentioned, the whole Barney Rubble having an affair of, running around with Wilma cheating on Betty, right? It would be devastating to us to perceive that as a kid. It's like, wait a second, this is supposed to be the family unit, whatever, okay? So, in some people's mind, they think that if a person commits adultery, or a man cheats on his wife, or a woman cheats on her husband, that this is such a bad thing. And it is, it's an awkward thing. I'm going to say right now, it would be difficult. But is it a legal thing? No, it's not. Now, it could be a legal thing if these two people decide to get a divorce after there's some sort of extramarital affair. But is it cause for people to, affect a woman's employment? Is it cause for a man to be blacklisted from his career or whatever? These are just examples, okay? And no, it is not. Now, we do have things which I like to refer to as social consequences, okay? Now, the social consequence is for that particular person who committed adultery, be that male or woman. There's social consequences, okay? Like their circle of friends are automatically going to start taking sides, right? So there might be a little bit of shunning, some gossiping, some severance of ties, okay? That's a social kind of consequence. It's going to happen, all right? And then we also have some people who are going to, maybe not want that person around or whatever. Okay, but is it a legal issue to where people can throw her in jail and all this other stuff? No, it is not. It is not. Okay. Now, like I said, that's between her and her husband if they want to get a divorce or they want to do whatever. But this is what a lot of people see as a kid, because I was somebody who was becoming like, I was basing my feelings on emotions, how I want things to be, idealisms, and everything else. So, therefore, for the idea of Barney cheating on Betty would be like earth shattering to me. I couldn't take it, right? So to me, it's like, hey, you're a bad person, you're bad, right? This is what a lot of people think, okay, but like on a macro level, all right? So they think that this is something that they can call the cops on for somebody to do. And no, you can call the cops, but you're going to end up looking stupid if it's to go to court, and it would be bounced right out of there. Okay, so what people need to understand is what is illegal and what is a legitimate complaint and what is something that is just like, okay, you got a problem, all right? Now, generally, when it comes to guidelines of the law, anything that you do that affects another person against their will is something that's against the law. For example, you decide to steal tires off of somebody's car. That's a loss that that person has to face, so therefore it's against the law, right? Putting your hands on people when it's not welcome, whether that be, even if something, if somebody says they don't want you to touch them and you touch them, okay, whether that be even a platonic touch, okay, If they said, do not touch me, then you are obligated to respect their person's space. Why? Because you're affecting another human being. All right. Same thing with their property. You can't, people who litter, and there's certain degrees of the legal system. Okay. I'm just giving you a brush up on some things that I think you should know. Okay. But there are certain levels of the legal system. Now, let's just say, for example, I was pissed off because my next door neighbor got a pool. Okay. And not only did they get a pool, they got the kind of like little tiles and the pretty colors that's going to should look really cool when the sun hits the pool, and it's going to look all glimmering. So I'm steaming, pissed off, jealous, whatever. So I'm starting to do like little microaggressions in front of their property, like I'm like littering and stuff like that. And eventually someone catches you on camera, right? Because they're starting to notice that there's pieces of papers and stuff like that. And it's small. It's a small, subtle form of harassment, okay? Now, is this like something that should be going to the federal courts? No, it's small. It's minor, okay? But there are things like small claim courts or small court small claims court, stuff like that handle things or minor disputes, okay? And generally, hopefully, if you live in a civilized environment, which I think is kind of funny because obviously we don't, that's why I'm giving you this speech. When you live in a civilized environment, that means people generally understand the limits and their rights. They understand the boundaries, the social boundaries, okay? And they're minding their own business. They're in their own lane, and everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, okay? So we have a lot of people who don't understand, certain guidelines, and this is one of the problems that we have with people doing this. I call it Gestapo type Nazi, like let me spy on you, let me throw you under the bus, let me devise a plan to get you off of the face of the earth. This kind of stuff that's going on. Okay, if somebody is doing something to you or you're affecting another person, that is obviously something that is related to the law. People have the right to paint their car yellow. They have the right to paint their car pink. They can put Hello Kitty ears on their car. Now, mind you, if it is obstructing their vision or somebody else's vision, or it's likely to cause an accident, then they cannot. There are certain things that have to be thought through when it comes to your behavior and how it affects people outside. If it puts somebody, it does what you're doing put somebody in danger. Okay, like those little fuzzy dice are cute to put on your beer, right? But there are some people. I think there are certain things written in the law that you can't. They can only be so big, okay, or whatever, because it could obstruct your vision to hurt you and perhaps somebody else on the road, right? So we have laws that are to guide us on how to be proper citizens, right? So now you guys understand that. Hopefully you do, okay? So can you call the cops on somebody who is baking a cake? No, you can't. You can, but like I said, once the cops get there, if these people are in their own home, they're in their own lane, they're not doing anything, whatever. Can you call the cops, or can you report it to the government or whoever, if somebody decides to go for a swim in their backyard at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Is that a legitimate complaint? It is only a legitimate complaint to somebody who is envious of somebody who owns that pool. Or maybe the girl who looks awesome in her fucking swimsuit, okay? And those sort of things, reports or something, should be bouncing off the ear of people in law enforcement, and they should be directing these calls like, okay, look, and explaining it and breaking it down to these people. This is not the sort of thing you complain about, okay? Is this person hurting you? Are they touching you? Have they done any damage to your property? No, they have not, okay? So stop the foolishness, okay? It's like people really need things that are clearly defined for them to understand what it is and what it is not a legitimate complaint. Now, as I've been doing in the last few days, I've been like, dipping in and out of YouTube because I get kind of bored sitting around thinking and seething about this weird death plot that was cast over me and all the obstructions, and they'd be finding I'm a clone. I mean, to me, this whole story is just so weird. It's beyond weird. Okay? And so all this weirdness, and believe me, people would think that I'm weird because, I'm into the occult and stuff like that. This is weird to me because I have always been interested in human behavior. And I think I've been saying this for the longest time. I have been studying these people forever. Okay, and it's quite intriguing, but it's really intriguing and eye-opening to find out the subtle racism that exists in people. Okay, that's deep. That is fucking beyond deep. Okay, so like literally, I could sit here and write a book on this issue. Okay, and because this racism exists in people, this is one of the reasons why people were sitting here trying to act as if I was creating some sort of crime, when in fact I'm not. I'm basically exercising my right, staying in my own lane, and I have every right to do whatever it is I want to do. Now, I think when you're a target, and the reason why they come after you is because you are dealing with a power structure that you may not even be aware of. Okay, like I said, people used to talk about bloodline targeting to me and used to go in like one ear and out the other. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, but this stuff does exist. Okay, and so obviously, I think most people who know me know that I don't make too great an effort to like step out in the world or do anything fancy. Okay, other than go to the store, and the fanciest thing I probably do is might wear a coordinating blouse with a pair of shoes. And if you think that's a reason to call the cops, I'm sorry, it's not. Okay, so let me explain to you one more time. We have these certain things called our free rights. Okay, and this is like, it kind of goes into the category of the natural rights we were talking about. It's my personal preference. I chose to wear red one day. Okay, uh, somebody might think I should be wearing blue, so you can't really make an issue of it. It's not up for debate. It's my right to do that. You see what I'm saying? It's like, we can get so competitive, we can get so jealous, we can get so nitpicky, we can get so, what do you call it, turn into green-eyed monsters sometimes, that we're not even thinking straight and making an issue out of something that really shouldn't be making an issue out of. Now, the whole underlining thing is that I have been hated on for a very, very, very long time, okay? And I'm going to tell you that, it's very shocking to me, but it's so in line of everything that, and confirms so many things that I have been studying throughout the years, okay? It is amazing to understand, that people project all the time. People are, it's like this constant cycle of projection, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, no, 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 no. It's too, I feel as though this information is just like too important, okay? And of course, my observations is going to change. It's going to shape how I see the world. And it does, because everybody can say the reason why so many people talk about me on YouTube is because they understand that I navigate, because I understand what people are going to do and their fucked up behavior, and then this is like I understand how to. Once I understand what the situation is, I fully understand, how to move and explain it, because I understand people really well, really really well. Okay, so yeah, that was one issue that I was thinking about. How people do things like this, and yet they do things that that when you look at things basing it off law, it's like they're flipping it around. It's like, wait, you're the one who's doing the bad stuff. But I know that I've had a bad reputation for very, very many years. Okay, that's one of the things. The smear campaign is essential, especially when you're dealing with things like Nazi type experiments, that kind of stuff. The smear campaigns, that's the number one and the first step that they take in these sort of campaigns or these sort of experiments or these sort of just game playing, game stalking in general. And the reason why, and that is um, a well thought out plan. Okay, now, because when you have create something negative or some sort of gossip about another human being, that is so over the top and so, what I'm going to say, is damaging. Okay, by these people saying that I was, I had come back from the dead, or I was a clone and I was a man in my previous life, they are not, and they made it almost seem like to most people that I was the only person who's ever come back from quote unquote the dead, meaning I was cloned. Okay, there are several clones. Okay, I would say that a lot of the celebrities are clones. Okay, and there's a few people, sprinkled around who are clones. Okay, and you can usually tell that they're a little bit different. They usually do have different ideas. They might have certain behaviors, and the reason why, especially if they're not just clones, they're clones. Some of the people are reincarnations of people that they were once before. It is what it is, okay? And like I said, what happens in the reincarnation process? You bring all of your little, idiosyncrasies and whatnot into the current life, okay? And of course, it's a little bit different, so slightly modified, because I don't live in the 1800s anymore, okay? And I don't live in, all these, whatever, you know what I mean? I'm not in England, I'm not here. I'm living here in 2024 in the United States of America, okay? And I will say that from my perspective, because in my heart, in my mind, in my soul, I feel like I am definitely an old soul. Like, I'm very old fashioned in a lot of ways, you know what I mean? And I think they try to, beat that out of you in the gang stalking process. Okay, I have every right to be old fashioned. If I wanted to, and I know this might really surprise some people, okay? But if I wanted to, I could decide to wear a dress in the style of the 1800s and live out the rest of my life living that way if I chose to be that eccentric. Now, most people, this is where it gets to be like, okay, wait a second. That I wouldn't do, and people would talk about it, and it would be like a big commotion or whatever. And then maybe somebody might start threatening that person's life if they chose to live their life, riding a horse and buggy instead of, taking a vehicle or something. And then they really, you take it that far, like they really want to get into it, okay? And people might talk about it, they might laugh at that person, okay? But at the end of the day, if it was to go to court, you know what? They got the right to do it. And I know that blows people's mind because on their level, they're like, I could never imagine like living without a cell phone. They couldn't live off this. Obviously, this person must be weird, but you know what? This weird person pays their taxes. This weird person, is a good citizen. They're not doing anything wrong other than they choose to live this way. It is what it is. You know what I mean? And you can sit here and do everything you want to, and I understand there's always going to be these secret societies that want to operate and move in, what do you call it, in opposition to the law, or because they want to be able to manipulate things behind the scenes, okay? And this is one of the reasons why I hate fucking politics. Politics is a very sticky issue, but I do understand as I'm dealing with these issues now, it's like, okay, my God, worldview, how you navigate through it, how you see things and everything, I do see how important that is. Unfortunately, some things have been taken to the extreme and neglected for so long that it's like, you ever have like a big mess and it's such a huge mess, you're like, where the fuck do I start? Where do I fucking start? And then there's always a spiritual message that comes into my mind. It's like, okay, Maria, Earth is hell. You know what I mean? So it's like, should I even bother? You know what I mean? So, but all I know how to do is, and well, I can do, because I can't control, the fact that people aren't really following through. Like, we have these agencies, right? All these agencies are supposed to be monitoring people and doing all these sort of things. They're not doing it, okay? And I can't make people do that, all right? So all I can do is be the best citizen I can do so that I can be blameless. I'm not, don't fucking drag me into this sort of stuff. Now, like I said, I do know that when I've been targeted for a very long time because of my bloodline, and I do understand, like, what they want to do is they feel like they want to be in a competition with you. And like I said, I'm not bringing it up, I'm just summarizing. I'm not interested in competing with you on any level, okay? I mean, I honestly am angry that I have missed out so much on life because of something I had no knowledge of. And now that I do understand it, it freaks me the fuck out. I can't tell you how much it freaks me out. It's too weird. Come on, it is weird. And then we're dealing with people's pathological jealousy. What I'm referring to is like certain people within this group and the Soul Tribe group were attacking me and belittling me because of things that I choose to be and how I choose to live my life. Okay, what I am is I am a woman who is all by themselves, who's been beaten down by a system, okay, that has caused me everything that you thought was funny to laugh at. Okay, and I question people who think that kind of stuff is funny. So the only thing that I can think of in my mind is you're fucking cruel. Okay, which makes me kind of want to back away from people, and that's the way it has to be. Okay, I am a targeted individual, which means that I have been dealing with people who have been operating under intense brainwashing. Okay, yet they want to do flip it around and somehow vilify me. Okay, this is a shock when it comes to brainwashing. Okay, just like people were brainwashed to attack and do what they did to the Jews, right? Same thing. Okay, you're hearing things. You're people making up stuff that is silly, really, but it gains momentum, okay? It gains tension. If they feel as though using the race issue is going to get a bigger group of people to participate in it, they'll do that. If they think it's going to make religion is going to create more of a solid army that's going to help them in their little plan, then they'll do that. You know what I mean? And really, all I was thinking the entire time is I'm just trying to get to my life purpose. That's it. You know, and maybe these people might resent my life purpose because they see me as somebody that they want to compete with. Okay, this is not about competition. I will tell you that you guys have everything. Okay, you have wealth, you have generational wealth, you have wealth so much that it's just like coming out of your ears. Okay, and can't you be happy with what you have? Can't you be happy with what you have? You know what I mean? That's all I'm asking, because I'm, really, I'm tired of like suffering for people's problems. And, also I was thinking about, you know, um, some of when I'm doing my intuitive readings, a lot of my intuitive readings, they're just coming at me, because I try not to focus too much on one specific thing anymore, because, I will tell you, my thoughts on the outside world are generally very limited. Like, I feel as though people who got caught up in this, it's very disturbing sometimes to remember their face. It's very disturbing for me to have to think about, people that I used to know, knowing that these people did what they did, and it's sickening to me. And I think about the lies that people believed, and the hatred, and to me, it's very sick. Okay, it's very sick. And the only thing, and I will always believe this, you will never convince me of anything other than the fact that this whole thing, the reason why it was so invasive is because this was straight up demonic attack to my life. Okay, I think it was demonic. The very fact that it was so invasive, the very fact that this particular energy would even enter inside of my home in various ways. Okay, is something that scares the hell out of me. Okay, this is where you got to worry about boundaries. Okay, I'm somebody who's very protective of my environment, and I do come off as standoffish, mainly because I've dealt with, like I said in that video, the flipping the experiment video. It's always been, let's hang out. There's been times where like my phone would just be ringing off the hook when I was younger, okay, and then all of a sudden I don't get calls for like months. Almost a whole school year will go, and the next thing you know, everybody wants to hang out with me. It's always been this cycle. It's always been the cycle. So now, as an adult, I recognize, like, the pattern. You know what I mean? I've always dealt with that. So I've never had people in my life that were like true blue. I've never had anyone in my life that I felt could make me feel safe. Okay, I've always had to deal with people who were meant to turn on me from the get go. Okay, and to me, because this is a Nazi issue, it was never a good situation. So you have to understand the reason why I don't find social media all that entertaining. You know what I mean? So I basically have been like, because I'm regrouping and restructuring, I've been thinking to myself, okay, this whole issue has just really caused me to get really pissed off. Mainly because I know that I dealt with people I was in communication with, who were willing to like grin in my face, knowing the kind of frustration I had. And I'm sure these people knew the history of TV Reganza. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, do not play with me after, if you're playing with somebody after all of that, what the fuck is wrong with you? Okay, what the fuck is wrong with you? And the sad part is, I do realize that there's a lot of people who are extremely ignorant. Just like I was talking about people who are ignorant, who don't know that you can't call the cops on the person who might be wearing a skirt. Even there's certain women like who wear short skirts, right? They wear short skirts. Now, I don't wear short skirts, okay? But there might be some woman who might be jealous. Maybe she doesn't want her husband to see that one with a short skirt. So she thinks, well, I'm going to call and get arrested. And I will tell you, she can get arrested if she is considered indecent. If that skirt is covering certain parts of her body, that's not considered indecent to her. Now, if she was showing like her, her ass or something like that, then she probably could. You need to understand, just because you're jealous, competitive, you've got some sort of issue, that is not any reason to think that you have any right to obstruct that person from doing what they want to do. It is what it is. Okay. So I deal with a lot of ignorance, lots of it. You know what I mean? And this is one of the reasons why I feel as though, I made this video because, it's just been really hard, coming from the years of dealing with. Okay, here's the weird thing, okay? You go through the school system, you go through, there's a cycle of people telling you, okay, things like hygiene, grooming, all these sort of things are constantly being bombarded into your mind when you're a kid. I understand the importance of it, and I also took it to another extreme because I also believe that people should feel good about themselves. But that was also something that was reinforced by the education system. Okay, whatever the case is, when somebody does take care of themselves and show themselves self-love, then this is when you get attacked, okay? Obviously, I was attacked because of the bloodline targeting, okay? But I do know that this is a problem with a lot of other people. They get upset if this guy's got more muscles than this person. This guy, this girl is like prettier than so-and-so and all this other stuff. I'm 50 something years old, okay? I am not what they call a playing in the game. Like, I don't care about that teenage type stuff about being the best whatever. I'm trying to be the best version of myself. I want to be the person, and I am the person. I am very comfortable with who I am. Okay, do I think that I'm beautiful? No, I do not think I'm beautiful. I've never said that I thought I was beautiful. I am very much aware that there's women 10 times more beautiful than me. Okay, but you know what? I try to take time out for myself and give myself the things that I truly enjoy. I don't enjoy dealing with people, especially after knowing that I was in some sort of Nazi experiment. And at one time, to say very, very same person that might be smelling in my face 2 years ago was wishing they knew I was dead. Okay, and that's just the fucking reality of it. Okay, so during this course of time, before it even then, okay, I already knew, hey, you know what, Brandon, you're all you have. Okay, I'm all I have, and I'm gonna fucking endure myself, foot all the way up to my head. Okay, from now until the day that I die. Why? Because I have every right to love myself. Okay, just like everybody else has a right to love themselves. Everybody should love themselves. Okay, because I will tell you, in a world where we live in where absolutely nobody can be counted on, and let me tell you, I'm going to tell you this is the truth. Okay, you'd be surprised about how many people do not have your back. Okay, or how many people are actually stepping on your coattails so that you cannot get free, who are possibly inviting you to dinner, possibly doing all kinds of things, grinning in your face and stabbing you in the back while they're doing it. Okay, and you'd be surprised. Okay, and trust me, you don't really want to know all of that. Okay, but what you do need to know is that you need to love yourself more. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video, and I will be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Bye-bye.